Yeah, price is value for money. Would it be useful for you if I ran through, like after I have the conversation with the client and I make sure I get every piece of information out of them, would it help you if I ran through exactly how I talk through my process?
Sure.
Okay. So give me a scenario, who you are really briefly, why you've come to see me.
I have long-standing shoulder pain for the last 5 years. I've tried fitness classes, didn't really enjoy them, and my shoulder pain never really went away, even though I've had massage and acupuncture regularly.
Mm-hmm. And the only thing you want to do is get back to the gym and lifting weights so you can hang out with your friends and lift what they lift at the gym.
Yeah, my main issue is my shoulder pain, but yeah, I feel like that's always held me back from wanting to lift weights. I've been nervous to go to the gym because of my shoulder pain.
Okay, cool. So at this point in the conversation, I literally go, is there anything else that you feel you would like to tell me that's going to help me with you and your results? So that's always the last question. And then once you get a no, you ask them, would you like to hear about the process that we have? No, sorry, the jump between that is based on that information. I genuinely think that we would be a good fit and I'd be able to help you with that. Would you like me to explain what that looks like for you? So it's making sure you haven't missed any information. Then it's, I believe I am or am not a good fit for you. Would you like to see what that looks like? Or do you could I refer you on to someone else? I think that you'd be better going to this person, whatever. And then if they say yes and they're ready to hear the process, then I say, great. Have you actually jumped on our website and had a look at what the process looks like? Most of the time they say, oh, like a little bit, but not really. And you say, great. So I'm just going to share it with you right now. This is it here. So we're going to scroll down. This just talks a little bit about us. We're obviously all university qualified. And so basically our system is built on the 3 pillars. And these 3 pillars are education, rehabilitation, and empowerment. So firstly, we want to make sure we educate you. And this means that instead of all these passive treatments that you have been trying, we're actually going to make sure that you understand what you're doing and why you're doing everything so that you can self-manage your own injury and you're not reliant on someone else forever. The second thing we do is rehabilitate, which is obviously getting you actually out of the pain. And that's a really important first step so that we can move you into a performance state where you're actually doing all of the things to continue to support yourself long-term. And then the empowerment side of things is arguably the most important, because we want to make sure that you feel strong and confident and that you can do anything and everything that you want to in the gym unrestricted. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty good.
Cool. So first step, if you feel like this is right for you, is what we call creating your game plan. So this is where you'll come into the facility if you're in person, or we can do it virtually. It runs exactly the same if you're online. And so this is our initial testing assessment. So we go through a full biomechanical assessment. We're going to test your mobility, give you some objective data around that. I know that you said this pain's been persistent, but there hasn't been a lot of actual metrics put to that. It's just you're in pain or you're not, and then you may get some physio assistance, or you may do some fitness classes, and it's maybe better or not, but we don't actually yet know the root cause of that. So this is our session to identify why you're having this persistent shoulder pain. Maybe your upper back is really restricted and the rotation in that is impacting the ability of your shoulder to perform range. And we're also going to make sure that if in this session we can't find the cause, we'll refer you on. So if you do need scans or anything like that before we're confident and comfortable that we can actually help you get to your end goal, which is not just out of pain, but performing and doing everything that you want confidently, that's when we organize that. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Cool. What excites you the most about that initial game plan session?
just having a plan in general.
Yeah. You've kind of just been winging it for the last couple of years. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we find that that is one of the most helpful things to build consistency. So after the game plan, phase 1 is called reset. So this is your first 6 weeks, and this is an intensive block. And so it's called back to baseline because if you think about like an XY graph, and if you're in pain, you're below 0. So you're in the negatives down here at the moment, and we're trying to get you back to 0. So 0 isn't in pain, but it's also not yet performing. And our first 6 weeks, we want to get you as close to that as possible. So this is where we highlight and focus on the mobility restrictions we found in your game plan. And then from there, we move into looking at retraining movement patterns, building stronger positions and safer training for you so that you're not doing things that might then flare you up like you maybe have had in the past with your fitness classes. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions about reset?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So after phase 1, we've really attacked those mobility restrictions. You should be moving significantly better. Pain should be a lot lower. Depending on how you go in that initial assessment will determine sort of how long that we predict that pain will be on for. But obviously with everything, it depends on how consistent you are and how much support that needs depending on your level of pain from now, okay? Then with rebuild, which is phase 2, which is beyond baseline. So we talked about 0 being not performing, but hopefully not in pain. Then we push above that. So this is where we're going to retest the mobility and also some strength metrics now, so that we're not just focusing on pain anymore, but we're looking towards performance and we're looking towards the fun things that you want to be doing in the gym. And so what we will do is slowly return you to some of those things that you found aggravating in your fitness classes, so that we can make sure that if you want to go back to those, you absolutely can. We just need to grade the approach to it, as opposed to going from not doing any fitness classes straight into like 110% effort in your class. So we build you back into those classes if that's what you want to do. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What's your most what's the best part about rebuild for you?
Getting back to doing exercises that cause me pain before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you worried about that at all?
That's good. Sorry to break character. No, it seems like you got it pretty well planned out. So I don't really feel worried after seeing this plan.
Good. Not the case with everyone, but some people will feel it, and it can be a little even just nerve-wracking. So just so you know, we obviously are there to walk you through that process. You don't have to go this alone, and we will be there to make sure that we grade it appropriately so that you're not just really ramping up too soon. And hey, we understand that pain happens and things happen. So if you do drop down a little bit, we just ask that you keep open communication with us frequently throughout the entire 12-month process with us, so that we can really support you and help with that. So I guess probably now's a good time to also mention that we do have things called emergency plans as well. So if your shoulder pain does flare up when we are starting to like retest things a little bit, then we have emergency programs in place where you can immediately go and do these things that should start to immediately drop that pain back down, so that we can then continue on. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Cool. So any questions about rebuild?
No.
No? Perfect. So resilience is our 3rd phase, but it's also our most important and largest phase. So it goes for a total of 9 months, pushing you to the 12-month mark. Now, a lot of people are a little bit nervous, understandably, about doing something for 12 months. But when you've had shoulder pain for 5 years, another 12 months in the grand scheme of things to completely not just rid your pain for now and go back into the cycle of the rat race or banging your head against the wall, but actually sort you for life is what we're about. We've found people who tapped out after phase 2 before we had this system in place really weren't getting the same results, and they were coming back to us. And so we hadn't actually completed our job or our role by fixing and closing the loop, basically. The other thing that we find frustrating, which I'm sure you've had experience with too, is that you may see a physio or massage therapist for a couple sessions, it feels good for a couple weeks, and then it goes back to where it was. Our goal with this is really to break that process and make sure that at the end of this, you are set for life. You have the skills, the education, the knowledge, and the confidence to do all of this yourself. Now, we obviously do have clients who want to stay on with us after 12 months, and that's absolutely an option for you too if you choose to do that. But we find that 12 months is our minimum to really get you, send you on your way to be able to do it yourself if you so choose. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. You seemed a little hesitant.
12 months seems like a big financial commitment.
Absolutely. Look, not just with that, but with your time and your energy, there is going to be a commitment involved for sure. We would argue that if this pain has been going on for 5 years, unsure how many more years it could go on for. What is it worth to you to have no shoulder pain or any pain in your body for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I guess I would pay a lot.
Mm-hmm. So absolutely, it's not going to be free. I want to still talk to you about everything that's involved so that you know what that investment is. But in terms of the outline so far, are you happy and confident that that will get you paid free?
Yes.
Perfect. So in terms of what's included, we find that frequency is a massive thing that we need to be consistent. We need to help support our people be accountable as well. And so we want to see you once a week, every single week for 52 weeks. Again, absolutely massive time commitment. But if we can get rid of this shoulder pain for life, I'm sure that that can do wonders for you. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, the first 12 weeks, you'll get a specialist rehab support for those intensive blocks for the first 3 months. And for the last 9 months, we have our incredible sports scientist and performance coach who's worked with, top level NRL players, and she will get you back performing and doing all the athletic explosive things, which is really where the fun stuff comes in. Other things that I should mention, we have an app. You can see that here. So everything is on there. So these are little videos of me, and I'm in your pocket while you're working out. So you're never going to have to look at a shitty little video on YouTube of some random person or a stick figure that your physio gives you. Are you all good? Yeah, okay. So basically you'll be able to have me in your pocket for the sessions that aren't with us. You get your entire program from us as well, all your warm-up, all your daily mobility stuff, everything is included. In that as well, we want to make sure that we are actually there for you when you need us. The issue we have seen with the healthcare system is you have your 45-minute massage and you walk out of there, 20 minutes later, you're like, oh, I just have one question about the exercise that they gave me. You have to book another appointment to talk to them again and pay more money for that. We don't think that's right. We want to make sure that we're supporting you the whole way through, so you have 24/7 access to us throughout the entire program, okay? So you can message us on WhatsApp. We will get back to you within 48 hours. You can send us videos of the sessions or exercises you don't do with us. And you're able to just check in with us as you need. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Do you have any questions, worries, concerns about the system?
Just for the sake of fun, it still sounds like it's going to be very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I can afford it.
Yeah. Outside of the finances, are you happy, confident in everything that's included? Is it just the finances that you're worried about?
Yeah, it seems like a great thing that you offer. I feel like everyone should offer this, but I'm just worried about the cost.
Aptly written at the bottom of the screen. What for you is the cost of being in the same place from 12 months from now? And look, if that cost is minimal, then maybe this isn't right for you. That's okay. But if you are done with the shoulder pain and you're exhausted by it and you're frustrated and you really want to be back doing the things that you're loving, then investing now to reap the rewards later is absolutely going to be your best option.
Okay. Sign me up.
And then we'd obviously just go through the price.
Yeah.
How is that?
Super helpful. Big time helpful. And I'll definitely take that recording as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll put it up in the Thinkific portal so that you've got it and everyone else has it as well, because I thought that might be helpful. Yeah, and it changes every single time roughly. And there are things that I think, oh, I should probably add in, I should have things at the bottom. Like every single time I do it, I'm like, I want to update my website because I want to add these things in there, because I want effectively the website to do everything I just did without me having to do it, which I think it does for the phases, but then it needs to have the weekly sessions. All of that shit needs to be at the bottom added in.
Okay.
Because the closer you can get someone to a fuck yes before they get on the phone and they know all of those things, the better.
Okay, cool.
Talk to me about your sales pitches and those.
I think because so much of it's been wrapped up in me not feeling like I deserve to charge what I deserve. So when the people get apprehensive about the price, I'm just like, yeah, I get that. Me too. Like, I agree. One part I didn't have a loop to or whatever. Something that you demonstrated a couple of times is like the cost of being in the same place. Like, is what I'm offering, what I'm offering seem worth it to you? Like,
I think the thing is too, probably the other thing that I did was actually attentive to you. And I know you were writing notes based on what we talked about, but whenever you were like, yeah, I was like, we're not moving on. That's not a solid yes. I'm not happy with that. We do not move on until I get a solid yes, or I get the question asked that they're thinking about. So you don't just run through that and just blab at someone. You make sure that they understand every single step. You can also ask them their most exciting or favorite part of that step, because then they have to verbalize to you what they like about it. And so that's them reinforcing to them that it's good for them. Yeah. The other thing that you would probably want to make clear, and this is probably even before the call, is there anybody else who you would need to make this decision? So that sort of brings up the partner question, or anyone else with finances, or like I've had things before where people's bosses might chip into their professional development with some of the courses I run. And so it's like, I need to change that in my jot form, but if they say yes and they list a person, I'm like, great, we need to book a time where you and them can be on that call, because there is no point having the conversation if they are just going to go away with their partner and try and like awkwardly explain what you just talked to them about with 45 minutes, and you don't get to be the one to talk through the objections of the partner. And they don't fully understand the process.
Okay. Yeah, I can add that to the intake form pretty easily. So you just say, is there anyone else you would need to help you make this decision? And in parentheses, brackets, say spouse, partner, relative, whatever, caregiver, something like that.
Yeah. Just like, is there anyone who you would like to discuss this with before making a decision? And then you would have a thing below that's like, in this case, we ask that those people are present for the meeting. Please make sure that you can book a time where you can both attend. Otherwise, you will be asked to reschedule to a time that suits. So you've prefaced that you're not even going to opt into the conversation if they've told you that their partner is important in their decision-making process, and then they rock up to the Zoom call or whatever, and their partner's not there. You're like, oh, I know you said that Brian was really important in this decision-making process. Where is he today? Can he jump on? And then it's like, look, I want to make sure that you guys are both on board with everything. If he's an important part of this process, I want to make sure that he understands everything. And I want to make sure that you guys can make the best decision for you, and he can support you with that. And so it's coming from a place of love and care, but it's also not allowing any waters to get muddied by their interpretation of what you've just told them. And so you have them there for it.
Okay. Yeah, cool. And that was another one. I've only really run into that once. So I didn't have like a system for that yet, because it was such an outlier for me, but I like that one a lot. And one guy said he's going to ask his mom. I was like, okay.
I had a client who did that, and like a 20-year-old kid, and he ended up just randomly not telling me, but bringing his mom to the session. I was like, I just used an opportunity to be like, this is awesome. I'm so glad that she's here, because now I have the opportunity to talk to both of them. And so you talk to the kid about all the exciting, fun things, and you talk to the mom about the safety and whatever else that they're worried about, and the investment and whatever, because I think that they both were just worried that it was a lot of money and they didn't want their son to get taken for a ride. And I'm like, look, I totally agree. I'd be in the same position if I was you. If my 20-year-old son was going to invest $6,000 into his health, that's a big deal. And I want to make sure that this is actually going to pay off for both of you. So I appreciate that you're here today. And you just like genuinely, that like best case scenario would have been worse if he tried to like fumble his way through that conversation when he got home. And they signed up, and she paid up front.
Nice. Cool.
Or it's even just like, is there anything today that you think would be helpful that I don't yet know about with your situation? Because I always ask, like, yes, you've come for low back pain, but you know, any other issues with your body? And I literally list joints of the body. So if they say low back, I say your neck, shoulders, like elbows, wrists, knees, ankles, hips, and I just say it like that. And then they're like, oh, my ankle, oh, my wrist. Just because then I bring in the concept of like, you're a human. We're here to train and help you, not your lower back. Because I often have people who are like, yeah, I'm here for my lower back. And then they're like, can you help me with my shoulder too? Yes, we can. Because I think sometimes when you go to the physio, it's like, oh, well, we focus on one problem today. It's like, but you're a full human, so we're gonna do all of that. Yeah. And again, that's just adding to, like, you're now fixing two problems for them, not one problem.
Yeah, increasing your value just by telling them, just by finding out what's actually wrong with them.
Which is things that we think are like obvious, but they don't. And so you have to really articulate that. And I think the thing that I probably didn't articulate when I was going through that as to how I would explain it is that you have to walk them through the process of what's broken with the system, why it needs to change, how you're going to make it better, why you are the new solution. So I did it sort of towards the end when I was like, the allied health system is broken. They do one-off sessions, you're in the rat race. And I took you through that. Like, I tried to make you feel exhausted and overwhelmed by how long this has been going on for, how frustrated you must be. And the emphasis that I use on the words is exactly how I said it then. Like, I really empathize with you. Like, this must be so frustrating. And then you go into, that's not the way it has to be. What we do. And then you sort of talk through, like, you know, you need to have constant contact with your allied health professional. And obviously, you know, and we are here for you to support that. And it's just this much money to do all of those things. And are these consults in person?
2 are virtual.
Can you film them?
Sure.
So like I would do what I did just now. It already starts recording before they get on the call. If they ask about, so then they've already got notified. If they ask about it, you say, yeah, I'm just doing this to make sure that I'm happy to send you a copy at the end of this. So in case you forget anything. And it's just something that I do to make sure that I didn't miss anything. And sometimes I go back to make sure that I'm giving you the same, like I'm just talking through the process and streamlining how I explain it.
Okay.
But generally most people are okay with that. Beautiful.